This is VillainNews here. I'm going to be talking about the Marvel official comic book adaptation of Return of the Jedi, which came out a few months after the movie was released. It came out in October 1983. This is the first cover that was released. It was a 4-issue limited series, separate from the Marvel collection. If you're unaware that Marvel got the rights for comic books to do Star Wars, and it's a brilliant series. There's a few wacky characters where the series isn't really taken seriously, and it's basically a whole bunch of filler, but if you really like the characters and like the Star Wars world, I'd suggest buying it. You could pick it up. This is Star Wars Omnibus a long time ago, Volume 4. I think it features issues number 68 to like 85, and then the Return of the Jedi adaptation is included. Alright, so let's begin. The first one, obviously, we have the scroll here. I'm going to go through a bunch of artwork. A lot of it is pretty faithful, sometimes worded differently. There's captions so you get more information, which is pretty cool. And you gotta love the presence of Darth Vader. No other villain has had a presence similar to his. That's when he tells him the Emperor's coming to the uncompleted Death Star. Jabba's palace here. Bib Fortuna, drawn pretty well. The characters that were shown in the movie are presented pretty well, I'd have to say. But if you look closer, the characters in the background, they're just random characters that don't really belong in the Star Wars universe. They just try to make them like weird creature, alien types. But that doesn't really take away from it. The art's still pretty exceptional. Jabba's a little darker. There's another closer shot of Bib Fortuna. This is a 96 action figure version of Bib Fortuna. I never got this Luke Skywalker. Well, this is the holographic message first. And then he shows up. His master plan is to go unarmed. One thing I really like about this is Jabba speaks clearly, obviously, because it's in text. And it's pretty good. They had a few more one-liners for him that I really like, and I'll talk about that once I get to the part where Luke Skywalker shows up. This is the ruse where they bring in Chewbacca, where Leia poses as the bounty hunter, unfreezes Solo from the carbonite. Luke Skywalker shows up, and this line is great. He basically calls Bib Fortuna a weak-minded fool. Bib Fortuna has to be one of the creatures that really stands out from the movies that was created. So is Jabba, of course. The pair of them. He's the aide to Jabba, as we know. And Jabba basically tells Luke Skywalker, I was killing your kind when being a Jedi meant something. Just a great line, great more insight on the Jabba character. As we know, he appears in Phantom of the Menace #1. His type, the Hutts, live for 1,000 years. And bring on the Rancor. Isn't that freaking beautiful or not? Is it just me? It never gets old. Star Wars Demolition PS1, Rancor. And what they say about the Rancor is it was thought to be just a myth. That's what it says in the yellow caption for Luke Skywalker. He thought it was a hobgoblin type of myth that they told kids in Tatooine. But it ended up being true right there. He kills him, as we know. And this was just the first book. And they even did these illustrations of just pictures of a clear picture of Bib Fortuna. Pretty awesome. There goes Sarlacc pit in the Dune Sea. Imperial shuttle. Boba Fett. He's pretty well drawn. This is a line that they add for Solo after he kills Boba Fett, knocks him. He's like, I did that? I wish I could have seen it. Let's see here. The Emperor's arrival is kind of different. I'm going to go ahead. Here's the Emperor's arrival. In the first time, they add a few lines, which is pretty good, and then there's some like one-liners like "He will come to me" that they take away from Vader. So it's a little give and take thing. Here's their version of Yoda. All the artwork is similar to like 80s, 70s type Marvel style. And then the wording for Ben Kenobi, he gives more insight and talks about how he met Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars, and they thought he could train him as well as Yoda. He talks a little bit more in depth on that. There goes a portrait of none other than Boba Fett himself, which the debate is, did he die in the Sarlacc pit or did he not? I think he appears in issues after. The Star Wars series went on for another 30 issues after the Return of the Jedi interpretation, you gotta remember. So they continue the story, and I think they bring back Boba Fett. Admiral Akbar's appearance. A lot of these are just wordy at this point, obviously, but I like it where they breed up with the Rebel Alliance. Oh, the Ewok and the Battle of Endor. So boring in the movie, so boring in the comic. It's all about the presence of the Emperor. Uncompleted Death Star. Overall, I'd give the movie an A-, and I'd pretty much give this interpretation of it an A. Pretty well done. That's when Vader lights up Luke's lightsaber. So I've seen you've constructed a new lightsaber. And that was pretty much it. Except for there is one more I want to skim through. Let you guys see. This scene always scared the shit out of me. He was in the presence of 2 Sith Lords. And be sure to check out my ideas video for Star Wars Episode 7 on VillainNews, where I talk about the future of Star Wars movies, discuss rumors. And this was JBM from VillainNews. And remember, I'll put all the information in the description below. So if you guys want to check this out, buy it on Amazon or whatnot, or they're available at your local comic book store. These were released in 2011 when they did the graphic novel and put it all in one book. It's about 27 bucks. Definitely worth it. And that was it. And this was the issue right after it, Jawas of Doom, issue number 81. And this was JBM from VillainNews. I'm out.